Do, 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 do,
All right,
do.
we've got sunshine setting up for Thursday, which will be the hottest day of the week as we take a run for maybe the 90-degree mark in a few places. But beware, the curse of the onshore flow looms for the weekend. We've got little pockets of severe weather here and there across parts of the South and also up in the Rockies. We'll talk about all of that and much more tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping on Amazon and using our referral link that's on the descriptor to this podcast. I'll also pin it to the top of the chat board shortly. All you got to do is use that link to get you to Amazon. You do your shopping, and Amazon sends us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. It's an easy way to support the show. It doesn't cost you one extra cent, and it's a nice thing to do. It keeps commercials out of the show, so that's always a good thing. At least the live stream part of the show, anyway. And also, we are brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is on the descriptor to this podcast. And if you use the coupon code Summer 2025, you will get
10% off.
yes.
And
I
do I
actually
appear 10 and do I appear 10% brighter than normal?
let me take a look. Hold on, and I'll check. Yeah, you do look 10% brighter than normal. You got the
Yes.
lights on this time?
No, I replaced the light bulb.
Oh, that's always a good thing to do.
The light bulb that I've been using all these weeks and months or whatever was it looks like it was much dimmer than it should be. So I said, let me change this and see and now it's like so
Well,
anyway.
thanks for everybody on the chat board for your cooperation. I think I may have just accidentally hit end broadcast instead of not doing that anything at all. It usually comes up automatically, and I accidentally hit the turn off button. So at least I know now what I did wrong. So anyhow, we're all back together again, so that's a good thing. You have we might as well do a shameless self promotion here at the top of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast tonight. You have a special talk going on tomorrow night, do you not?
It's for the North Jersey Weather Club. They asked me some time ago if I could possibly give them a presentation, and tomorrow night I will. And the topic or the title of the presentation is "And now here's your forecast." And basically, it talks about how weather forecasts on radio and television are put together, the origins of how radio forecasts began. I'm going to show the very first weather map that was issued by the Department of War, Joe, back in 1871, and how things have evolved since then, and take us all the way up to the current situation where we're now working with Doppler radar and the GOES satellites, which provide us each night here on the Joe and Joe show with so many different wonderful things. So if you're interested, I see you put on the chat board the Zoom link for tomorrow night. The presentation for the North Jersey Club is at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, which is why we here at Joe and Joe will not be going on until 8:30 tomorrow evening. So instead of our usual 7:35 start time tomorrow night, it's pushed to 8:30 to make room for my talk for the North Jersey Weather Observers show, and that will be at 7 o'clock. So Joe has put that up on the chat board, the link, the Zoom link. So if you want to attend, Don Colgan at the North Jersey Club said, by all means, if anybody on the Joe and Joe chat board wants to attend your talk tomorrow night, they are certainly more than welcome to do so. So there you go. There's your invitation.
All right, so it's up there. I actually pinned it. The Amazon link is unpinned, and I have now pinned the North Jersey Weather Observers link for all of you, should you like to join Mr. Rayo. And he always gives very entertaining presentations. Clive
Yes.
Barnes of the New York Post says there's not there's nothing better than a presentation from Joe Rayo.
And I've always liked Clive's reviews because I never did get a good review from Rex Reed. For some
Uh,
reason, he didn't like me.
well, I always had a general rule was that if Rex Reed liked the movie, don't bother with it.
Don't bother with it.
Right. I mean, he liked Ishtar. And if you remember Ishtar from the mid 1980s, I think it was Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman, and it was panned like by everybody except for Rex Reed. So anyway, here we are. Hot tomorrow. We've got some air quality issues. I'm seeing all sorts of code orange alerts for central and South Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania into parts of Maryland, and also air quality alerts for the Valley Hudson and Long Island and New York City.
Yes, and once again, I don't think this has anything to do with the airborne smoke. This is more of a localized problem, ozone problem, and they always seem to do this when the temperatures approach or exceed 90, and we are going to be close to 90 degrees in many spots tomorrow.
Yes, you are. I had a beautiful day. I have to, I don't even know. I don't have my phone near me. Oh, yes, I do. Hold on a second. I can check to see how many days in a row it's rained around here because it just seems like it's been endless uh, with the with the rain that we've had here in North Georgia anyway. So I'm checking my Tempest by weather flow, which I can monitor on my mobile device. You gotta love. I can always work. I know I am the champion of working in shameless self promotions. So we had no rain today. So let's see. 700ths yesterday, 4700ths the day before, 3400ths the day before that, 5500ths the day before that. Now I'm back to June 6th, 4300ths. So that's the last. So it's the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. The last five, we've had rain here 5 days in a row. And okay, yeah, so it's five in a row and six out of the last seven. So
So,
that's it. So today was a nice day. Got to 80. It was reasonably comfortable. Wasn't all that humid really, and it was a nice breeze too.
and of course, the other day you were in the zone of enhanced,
Right.
possible enhanced severe weather, but you managed to get through it.
I did. I somehow managed to get through all these difficulties, all these trials and tribulations that are laid on me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Oh
Did
well.
JJ go outside and growl at the clouds and
No, he, as you can see, he takes his usual show position, asleep on the bed. He's a lucky dog today. He got to sleep through two podcasts because we taped a new Weather Legends this afternoon. So he was on the bed and he slept through the whole darn thing. Not that I could blame him. But there he is. All right, let's take a look at what's going on tonight. Because actually, from the standpoint of weather, it's not it's been we've had a lot of days lately where it's been pretty active around the country. It's a little bit less that way today. Not inactive, but it's just not crazy active. And certainly from the standpoint of severe weather, we're not seeing a whole lot. We don't have any severe thunderstorm watches up except, wait, let me take that back. Let me start that again. We do have two severe thunderstorm watches up. We don't have any in the Gulf states or the Ohio Valley or the Northeast, clearly. There are a bunch of counties in north central and northeast Iowa that are under severe thunderstorm watches. And we have severe thunderstorm watches for the entire western half of the state of Wyoming and easternmost or southeastern Idaho. Excessive heat watch for southern Arizona and parts of southern California. Flash flood watches up for north central, and northeast Texas into northwest Louisiana and southwestern Arkansas. And various areas up around the western lakes with some air quality issues. That's probably smoke related in Minnesota and up in Wisconsin. And also probably what you're seeing in Indiana and well, a couple of counties in Ohio, a couple of counties in southwestern Pennsylvania. So on the lightning strike satellite combo here, one thing that stood out to me this morning was how nice and clear it was up and down much of the eastern seaboard. We hadn't seen that in a long, long time. Also, we are looking at some lightning strikes that are going on in the North and South Carolina, as those storms are just kind of edging to the coast. They've reached peak intensity and beginning to weaken. There was a stronger line of storms that came out of East Texas and moved into western Louisiana. Those two are they've just about peaked in intensity there, judging by the lightning strikes, and getting a lot of lightning strikes in the central and particularly in the northern Rockies. If you look up in Idaho, you can see a little rotation there with a shortwave that's moving through, and that's triggering off shower and thunderstorm activity. It's been a while since the radar's been quiet up and down the East Coast, but it looks like it should stay that way for tomorrow and for Friday as well. I just mentioned a teeny tiny, a teeny tiny chance for a isolated shower or thunderstorm in an isolated inland spot tomorrow, maybe.
I said a slight risk of a thunderstorm. Yesterday I said the risk would be confined chiefly to places along and north of the I-84 corridor, but today I said, the heck with that. I'll just simply mention slight risk late tomorrow into tomorrow evening of maybe in one or two places a pop-up thunderstorm. Now, if you're unlucky enough to be underneath one of these storms, there's a chance that you could go through 5 or 10 minutes of exceedingly heavy rain and strong gusty winds, but they're going to cover very, very small percentage of our area, but they will be around perhaps as a cold front advances toward us, moves on through, and as you just alluded to, Joe, the front will pass to our south, only go so far, and unfortunately, as far as the weekend is concerned, the proximity of that front to our south is going to set the stage for onshore winds, easterly winds off the ocean, and also set the stage for perhaps some periods of light rain or maybe just some drizzle or whatever. But it does not look like at this point in time to be a great looking Father's Day weekend.
No, I agree with you. It is the curse of the onshore flow, as I like to call it. We've got the radars active in Florida on the west coast, seeing some downpours and a few thunderstorms from north of Tampa all the way down to south of Fort Myers. Also in northeast Florida, southern Georgia, seeing some showers and thunderstorms there, and coastal South and Carolina and into North Carolina, seeing a couple of thunderstorms. Then we've got this area here in Louisiana. Don't see any severe thunderstorm warnings. There are some stronger thunderstorms that the radar's picking up on. But again, I think this has probably reached peak intensity and they'll begin to wind down just a little bit. Meanwhile, we do have activity from New Mexico up I-25 through Colorado. Yesterday, most of the activity was west of I-25. Today, it's kind of split 50-50. It looks like the stronger cells are to the east of I-25 toward the Kansas-Nebraska state lines. The areas to the west looks like the shower activity to the west there is a little more patchy. And then we go up into Wyoming where we've got that severe thunderstorm watch up, and there's actually one severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued in the yellow box that you see. And we also have some various showers and some rumbles of thunder going on in parts of Montana and into Idaho. Storm Prediction Center tonight has a slight risk across Iowa in a narrow east-west band, just near the Minnesota state line and poking into southern Wisconsin. In Texas, we have a slight risk in parts of southeast Texas, uh, necking back to Austin and to around San Antonio. We have a marginal risk for isolated severe thunderstorms in in the northern Rockies, and that severe thunderstorm watch that we said that's up for Wyoming and Idaho, and a small area of marginal risk in eastern North Carolina. Nothing crazy in the severe weather world the next couple of days. We've got two areas of marginal risk that come with two areas of 2% tornado risk. One from Texas northeast into Arkansas and Mississippi, the other from eastern Colorado northeastward into southern Minnesota and Iowa. These are marginal risks. And then on day three, we have marginal risk and a slight risk actually from the Oklahoma Panhandle and western Kansas northwestward through eastern Colorado, western Nebraska, eastern Wyoming, southeastern and south central Montana. So that's where all the action is going to be in the western plains to the northern Rockies. And with respect to rainfall for the next 7 days, so this carries us through next Wednesday, but the most of what you see in the east covers us through the weekend, and you're seeing anywhere from a half to 3/4 of an inch. Less in southeastern New England and in northern New England, inch and a half plus in eastern Virginia and North Carolina, inch and a half plus across Pennsylvania, northern West Virginia, most of Ohio, southern Indiana into Illinois, then again into Kentucky, eastern and central Tennessee, and then an area of maybe 2 to 3 inches, which counts some of the stuff that's going on tonight in parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, southeast Oklahoma. Actually, there's an area of about 4 or 5 inches plus in the southeast corner of Oklahoma, and then that extends southward down to the Texas coast. So again, it's a this time of year, Joe. It's hard. We're at the time of year where these weather systems, there's not a whole lot to them. It's not like in the wintertime when you've got a wrapped up cyclone and a cold front and a warm front, and you got the weather that's to the north and west of the low, and who's getting heavy rain, who's getting heavy snow, who's getting showers and storms. We're in that time of year where these systems tend to be on the smallish side, and as you pointed out with the setup, this weak front tomorrow doesn't have much with it, but again, teeny tiny chance that we could get something. And then we start to set up an onshore flow. Friday should be okay, though. The wind is going to come in off the ocean, but it's not going to be any kind of screaming wind. So temperatures inland will probably still get to the 80s. But then we get into Saturday, and that's when we start to see lower pressures across the lower Ohio and Tennessee Valley into Virginia. You set up with that onshore flow, you start to get into some showery rains Friday night, a little bit of a break, and then maybe again Saturday night into Sunday. And then, after that, there's a chance, if you look at the European, there's a chance on Sunday. Well, let me back that up a second. So there's some rain around on Sunday. No, never mind. There's not a chance for Sunday. Maybe for Monday, where everything starts to get shoved to the south as high pressure builds in from like Nova Scotia and builds down the coast, that maybe there will be some improvement on Monday.
Well, that would just be rubbing salt into the wound after a not so great weekend to have the weather improve just in time for the start of your new work week on Monday. But I just went basically unsettled with a chance for some wet weather Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and even for next Wednesday, I mentioned maybe a spotty shower. So I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you enjoy much of tomorrow. Actually, that the short-term models, the GFS, for example, is putting the emphasis on tomorrow evening after sunset for maybe a passing shower or maybe a little convection. The NAM is saying absolutely nothing for precipitation either tomorrow or tomorrow night. So it depends upon what you or who you would want to believe, which model you want to believe. But again, as we mentioned last night, Antoine's rule: a front is a front. It's a front coming through tomorrow, late tomorrow evening. It might generate something. It might generate a shower or thunderstorm. It's always nice to be prepared and aware, even though the odds are that we probably will go through tomorrow and tomorrow night with not a drop.
The Mid Atlantic and Southeast, actually in the Southeast and the Gulf states, you're probably going to see some afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's not one of these deals where it rains all day, but I know how things act around here. We had a day yesterday that every time the sun broke through the clouds and would come out for about 20 minutes, it was literally the perfect example of self-destruct sunshine because that's all it took. and then suddenly the sky got black and you had a heavy downpour. So we'll probably see a bit of that here going on across the southeast on Thursday, and then maybe even into the mid-Atlantic states on Friday and over the weekend. You can see how the European just kind of fires things up in the afternoon and evening. Then they die off during the overnight to some extent, and then fire up again as we get into the daytime hours. So that's sort of where we are with all of this. And I'm just looking at next week, where I, this is a little. You get maybe a chance for some improvement on Monday, but we do have some weather systems in the sort of west northwest flow that's kind of hanging over the Northeast and Great Lakes. So there's a couple of systems that may try and come through at some point next week. None of them look to be anything major. And again, I mean, it's going to get very warm and it's going to be humid. I don't know if I don't think we have a setup here that means prolonged, hot weather, 90 to 95 type weather days after day after day after day. I don't think we're quite there yet.
Well, we'll see. Um, it's a pattern that is, may I say the term anomalous, because now that we're getting into the summer season, you tend to see less in terms of weather systems progressing across the United States with so freely. Usually you get into a slower pattern, sometimes even a stagnant pattern. But this is a pattern that looks like it's going to be changing or changeable, and also suggests that we're going to be seeing more in the way of precipitation in the coming days ahead.
Well, as we've been doing almost every night here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, we check the GFS model for any zombie hurricanes. And we're calling them zombie hurricanes because the model's been generating tropical storms and hurricanes for the last 2 weeks, and we've seen nothing. There's a little something in the southwest Gulf later next week, and then that goes away. And then after that, not seeing anything. So there you go. So it's kind of backed off from taking hurricanes to Florida. Not that we ever believed it to begin with, since we know the tendency of that model. And by the way, I should point out on the map that I have up on the screen right now, if you look up north of Lake Superior in Canada, right near the top of the map there, west of James Bay, there's still a little bit of light blue snow that's showing up. That might be the last time you see it until maybe mid to late September.
Rich Rodmansky wants to know, by the way, what letter of the alphabet are those zombie hurricanes up to?
Right? Exactly. They've already run through the alphabet, it seems. But yeah, we talked
I mean,
about this.
if you believe Dave Tolerus, uh, there was what last year 417.
425 on the GFS and 117 on the European. So the European is better. It's not perfect, but it's better. But the GFS is totally out of control. Okay. I don't know how they counted. I have to find out how they counted it because you may see the same storm on multiple model runs in a row that's in a different spot. Do they count those as separate storms? Like let's say on one run at the 300 and some odd hour, it's got a low in the northwest Gulf of Mexico going into Texas. And then on the next run, it has for roughly the same time frame, it'll have something in the Central Caribbean going up through the Bahamas and to up to North Carolina, just as an example. So I don't know if they count that as one storm or two storms.
I
But
don't
either
know.
way, the models in the long range are going to do this, and we're going to keep making fun of it until such time as one of them winds up being correct.
Somebody on the chat board, I forgot who to ask the question about the Weather Legends show. Did you were you a part of that today or?
I was there. Yes, it hasn't been put together yet. I mean, we recorded it. Now you'll have to just wait till Mr. Von Olin gets it all edited.
Yes, I was unable to do that. I had to. I just simply
You had
had to
to
take
cut
it
the
on.
grass.
Yes,
Mrs.
and I
Rado
was,
gave you a pair of manicuring scissors and had you go out there and cut the grass.
as you can see, I was attired for the day here.
Yes, you were the lawn ranger.
A Lone Ranger rides again. I got a lot of grass, Joe. I said it in my explanation to you and to the other legends. I feel so weird when I say that. I said I wanted to do it this morning, but last night under generally clear skies, we had a lot of dew that developed, and my grass was soaking wet this morning. Even the newspaper was soaking wet at the end of my driveway, and so there was no way I was going to be able to take the tractor out and do that until it dried out. It dried out generally around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is when we were supposed to do the recording. And I said, "Look, I hate to back out, but that's what I did for today. So I was not
Uh,
part of today's
well,
discussion. What did
you
you
were.
discuss?
We talked. The whole show we talked about you.
Did you talk about the hydrostatic equation that
Oh God, please, yes. We all had meltdowns over all that stuff coming up again.
and I
Anyway, you
love
got.
Bill Corbell. I love Bill Corbell's comment. He said, "If you talk about that, don't talk about it with me because that's. I mean, who remembers that stuff?
Oh
I
no,
mean,
none of us do. None of us do.
yes,
I mean, and I'm at a point right now where I've really am forgetting a lot of stuff, so I have to go back and look things up and see what they mean. Oh yeah, I forgot this years ago. So
yes,
now I get to forget it again. You have Briller Jeopardy on this lovely Wednesday night.
yes, I do. And just let me call it up here. Yeah, as soon as they gave me my diploma, that was it. Everything just fell out of my
There it
head.
goes. Yeah, exactly.
Um, ba, 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 ba. Switch now. All right, and now I got to go do this and do that.
While
And
you're doing that, I didn't say hello to everybody on the chat board and to those watching in the background. So, hello, everybody on the chat board. And for those of you watching in the background, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35. However, tomorrow night we will be here at 8:30. Okay. So 8:30 tomorrow night. And Sunday's Father's Day. So Joe and I are going to take Sunday off. Doesn't look like anything catastrophic will be happening over the weekend. So after tomorrow, we will be back on Monday. So subscribe, turn your notifications on. And if you like the show, hit the like button. And Matthew, the math and the physics are really the toughest part of it all. You just have to sort of, try to get through it. But that's the tough part.
Rich Wortmansky mentions on the chat board. He said he ran into Craig Allen at the supermarket on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, he said that yesterday.
I mean, that's got to be strange for Craig
That's
because
Stu Leonard's.
Craig, of course, was like a workaholic, and usually most weekday afternoons he was prepping to go on WCBS News Radio 88, which doesn't exist anymore. So now he's got his whole week free. So I guess and it's the same thing. I know exactly how he feels. Now that I haven't been on television in a while. Sometimes when I'll say, look, I need some help. Can you come shopping with
Right,
me?
so you go to the produce department and squeeze the melons.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so here we go. Briller Jeopardy average lows. We're still talking about the average lows in the month of June for these cities, starting with one that Joe actually lived in for a few years, New Orleans. Joe,
The average June low,
June low.
I don't know, 70.
A little bit on the low side.
Yeah, okay. Craig
Craig Carl,
Carlberg said 72.
72. That's a little bit closer. And Rich Mansky's right there almost with 74.
Before. So it's what, 73?
No, it would be in
Really?
the other
It's
direction.
Vincent Croce at 75.
75, yes.
There
And
you go.
here's one that we should all be familiar with. Central Park, average low in the month of June.
64.
Where's that bell? Here he is, folks. He's about to
It's the
do it
good
again.
humor man.
Yes, good humor, man. If that's a good humor, man, give me a popsicle.
Popsicle.
How about number 3, Orlando? Now, again, New Orleans was 75.
75. I'll say 74.
See, you were right there, Joe. Almost.
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 Snake country with that 74.
Okay. We have a bunch of people saying 74.
Well,
Uh,
that may be true, but Rotmansky, you got it with 73. And there you are. Frank Scalera also had 73. William Huber with 73. So there you go.
there you go.
How about Rochester, Minnesota? Not New York.
Oh,
Rochester,
well, there's a
Minnesota.
switch. Uh, hmm. 57.
How? What did you say, Joe? 51?
7.
No. But we do have winners already.
Okay, go ahead.
John Melander, Latex Dreams. They both got 57.
Well, I just said 57.
You did?
Yes. What did you think I
Oh,
said? I said 57.
oh, I thought you said something else. All right.
What could have I possibly said that was something else other than 57?
Well,
You're
anyway.
just so quick to judge me. I said 57. You go, nah,
Well, you
nah.
know what? First of all, I'm giving everybody a bell. And secondly, I got distracted because somebody sent me a text. See, I hate these. I hate these devices. I hate these devices. I brought it down tonight with me, and somebody
Okay.
texted me something. It's making all these weird sounds or whatever, and I really don't need to be distracted. It'd be so much better, by the way, if they had a rotary on these things. Anyway, San Antonio, Joe.
San Antonio.
Yes.
Um, hmm. I'll say 72.
See, almost. So did Rotmansky. He too got 72. Just it's Snake Country, just a tad. And Chuck Cardillo, you're close to at 74. So what possibly could that mean? What did we say for Orlando, Joe? Tyler
S-
Fenga got it,
73.
73, and Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, 73. What are you doing? Are you doing this to drive me crazy?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
And what's the
Choppy,
bonus question?
people, Choppy just sent me a text. Let me see. Should I read the text message that you sent? You sent two text messages.
Yeah. Name that tune.
Oh, la 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 la. Yeah. Uh, bonus,
Yeah.
bonus. Toronto,
Oh,
Tonto.
um, I'll say Toronto.
Yes.
60.
Too warm.
Too warm. Oh, okay. Pat BFD says 58.
Very close.
Croce is
Right,
at
almost right
57.
there. Rich Rotmansky, 59. That's too warm. But Vincent Croce. Croce, you
And
got it,
Paul
Croce.
Roman at 57.
57. And so did Chuck Cardillo, 57. There you go.
Okay, we got
Matthew
it.
Warman. It ain't 46. It's not going to be 46 again for a long time in
A
Toronto.
long, long
Yeah.
time.
Paul Roman, 57 as well.
Oh, God. All right.
Congratulations.
Well, I'm done. I actually had a craving for ice cream, and I ran out at like 5 o'clock tonight and ran into town. Well, went into town. By the way, I meant to tell you this. Uh, so I got my gasoline. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Today's what? Wednesday?
Today's Wednesday.
Wednesday. So I think I got my gasoline yesterday. Yes, it was yesterday. And after I used my upside discount and my Circle K discount, I paid and my 2% back on my credit card. I paid 209 a gallon.
209?
209. Circle K, I had five fill-ups. They had a June because I have the app. We have two Circle K's in town, and a lot of times they're the cheapest gas station anyway. So I I had if you last month if you got five fill-ups, you get 5 cents off on the gallon. But if did five fill-ups by the end of this month, you got a 50% off per gallon. Um,
Wow. Wow.
thing, which I used yesterday, and then I got 5 cents. I got 4 cents off for the credit card I used because it gives 2%, and then I used also the Upside app, and that gave me another couple of pennies. So when you worked out all the math, it came out to $2.09 a gallon, or 2.09 or 2.08, something like that.
And
So
see,
that
we
was
think we're getting
nice.
we think we're getting a big deal up here when we bring our vehicles to BJ's. They'll take it's about 15 or 16 cents off
Hmm.
the regular. Well, here we have a Getty's and it's 2.89, but if we go to BJ's, we can get it down to 2.67. 2.09, he said, for
2.09.
regular.
William
Oh,
Uber, the real price. Okay, the regular price yesterday. I don't know what it is today. It was two 52 for cash, 262 on a credit card, and diesel is 275. So that is what the gasoline costs here in North Georgia. We're actually where I am. Oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes we are the cheapest gasoline in the state. So, and that's
I should point out also that if you use oil to heat your house, and this has happened
yeah,
to us
which we
once.
don't. We don't have oil here.
Well, up here, if you use
Not for much
uh,
longer, but go on.
if you use oil to heat your house, and this has happened just once in the time that we've been living here in Putnam Valley, we actually ended up running everything all the way down to zero. We needed oil. We called the oil company. They said we'll be coming your way later tomorrow. But of course, this was like at the end of the day, and we're in for a cold night. So the guy said, if you're really in a
Yeah,
have a
go get
problem,
diesel. Go get
you,
diesel
you
fuel.
you can get diesel fuel to
Yeah.
use your as which is what we did. I went out, got the five gallon can, put 5 gallons of oil in. It was very parsimonious in our usage of the amount of fuel that we used overnight and the next day, but it got us through until we got our next oil delivery.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you could use diesel for a substitute for heating oil. I think it's the same thing, actually, virtually the same thing. All right, I think that pretty much does it. Um, Alfred Phillips, 789, where you are in Wainwright, Alaska, up on the North Slope, 789 a
God,
gallon.
7.89 a
Oh
gallon.
my
Wow.
God! I would have thought that Alaska would be cheaper, but I know that it's not. Um, Mrs.
I
Hunch
always
said,
thought I always thought Hawaii was the most expensive state to get gas.
no, I think California is. I think it's like $5 or $6 a gallon there because they have so many ridiculous taxes on top on fuel. Um, Milk is like $8 a gallon. Yeah, maybe. What about walrus milk? Maybe that's cheaper. Uh, uh, Paul Roman says he's at 296. So there you go. And unfortunately, I have to put 91, which is hard to find. 377. Really, 91 octane is hard to find, and why do you have to put 91? Because most vehicles have you're supposed to be able to put 87. Our Harold Olson still calls it high test. Remember, we used to call premium high test.
You know, I my grandfather, when I was living in Throgs Neck, and this goes back now to the early '70s. I mean, the Exxon
It was
station.
Esso in those days. I remember the
Yeah,
Esso
yeah.
station.
It was like 34 cents a gallon, but he still went to a place near City Island. It was called Oil City, where he
Yeah,
could
I
get three
remember
cents.
Oil City. Sure.
Yeah, he could shave like 3 or 4 cents off of that going to Oil City. I used to tell him, I said, you see, the amount of money that you're expending just to go from where we are to Oil City to get the cheaper gas and then come back or whatever, you probably killed the whole
Oh, yeah,
discount over there.
my father was worse. He used to drive. He used to drive from Throgsneck up the Hutch to Boston Post Road,
Yeah,
the very first exit in New Rochelle there, and there was the gigantic Amoco station there that had like 20 pumps or whatever it was, and they were near where Corvettes was, and you know it was what was it, like 4 miles, whatever it was. And in
yeah,
those days, your car got like 6 miles to the gallon, so you're basically burning a gallon of gas. So you drive all the way up there to save 10 cents, but you spent 60 cents on the gas. But those were the days, many, many moons ago.
yep.
And on that note, we shall say goodnight and leave it till tomorrow when we will be here at 8:30 because Joe will be doing a talk for the Northern New Jersey Weather Observers at 7 o'clock, and the link is pinned to the top of the chat board. I'll also be posting it in a few other places when the time permits. So everybody have a great night, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye bye, folks.